guys, welcome to the world is your bowl of noodles, slurp noodles, and chat. I am the host, Jordan Ibukwe. Today, my guest is Jamar Root, youth motivational speaker, founder, and host of Root of Everything Bro. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Tune in, link in, subscribe, share, comment down, and stay in tune. Go support my man Jamar, and let's go and give him a round of applause for being on the Noodle Pod today. All right, Jamar, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
For sure. My name is Jamar. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Um, 24 years old. I travel the country inspiring students to find their passion and find success within it. Started my own podcast when I was, how old was I? Must have been 19, 20. Started my own podcast, and that kind of led me to where I am now. I've put on a lot of different hats, but at the core, I'm just somebody that loves to speak. I really do. I could talk all day if you gave me the platform. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's good. But starting off this video, I do want to ask the question because I know that you had an interest for speaking, like you said, that you always loved speaking, especially seeing most of your videos. You motivate a lot of people from all categories of life, especially youth. And I want to know what was the pivotal moment in your life that sparked your desire to inspire others?
That's a good question. I think there were multiple moments that sparked me. I think there were a lot of moments in high school even where I felt my voice being important. It wasn't per se like a moment where I was like, oh, I should become a speaker in high school. It was more of, oh, I have something. It wasn't really knowing what it was, but it was like I may have a little something here. And so I started to get that a little bit. But then when I got to college, I think I really started to fly my wings a little bit and be Jamar for who Jamar is. And once I
Right.
started doing that, I've had a couple interactions where I found myself on stage, not even trying to get on stage, and I found myself on stage. And for me, the pivotal moment I always look back on for me is what happened to me going into my sophomore year of college in the summer. I was actually diagnosed with a type of leukemia, and so when that happened to me, it was a shocker. It was like, you know, you just don't expect to hear certain things at 19 years old. And so when that happened to me, it just allowed me to really reflect on how I was living my life. And thankfully, I live today, very healthy. But I
Amen.
constantly, thank you, and I constantly have a reminder of how short life is. And so for me, once I realized the value of just waking up in the morning, then the question became not just where I could help people or get these massive results with. It became how can I maximize and enjoy on every moment? And then once I started asking myself that question more and more, I just realized I really love speaking, and I found that in different ways, whether that's on stage, a podcast, or wherever.
Yes. Only by the grace of God that we are even here, living here. And amen to your story, because that is really just hearing how you got diagnosed with leukemia, but then you're now healthy. That is just a journey that you had to endure,
Mm-hmm.
but you learned how to be grateful, and especially taking the little things in life and about life as well. And knowing that now we're in this day and age where everyone is like, especially young people, are very ungrateful for what they have, it's always important that we address the small things in life and we praise those things because those are what makes life really beautiful. And I do want to touch on having like a positive mindset because we do have to like think really highly about things and not always set everything down. But I want to know, how do you maintain a positive mindset during difficult times, and what advice would you give to young people who are facing troubling times?
That's a good question. I think perspective is everything in the hard times and in the good times. Perspective. So in the hardest moments, you can still, if you're living in a hard moment, there's always the perspective of I'm breathing right now. There's somebody that doesn't have the opportunity I have. Every single moment, every single time you go through something, you can also look back and say, "Hey, I've gotten through every hard moment before. Who said I can't get through this one?" And
Right.
so perspective is everything. And if you can master the art of always seeing the positive perspective, then it's going to give you the ability to almost have this positive energy about you even when things go wrong. Now, I'm not saying I'm some guy that's just happy no matter what happens to him. No, I get mad probably a little bit every day about something. Like just when my Netflix says I got too many devices or something, I'm like, who got the login? And so there's all these little things that get us, but if we can take a moment to remember what we're grateful for, what we're lucky
Right.
to have, because if we haven't realized already, one thing the internet has allowed us to see is that there are large like things we may think are just anything to have that other people don't have the chance of having. And so for me, it's always gratitude. That's always the answer. Gratitude and the fact that we don't understand the future. I like to always say, who are you to judge the future when who are you to judge the present when you don't understand the future? And so sometimes the things we're currently going through that seem like, why is this happening to me? For me, I was diagnosed with cancer. Why is this? Could be the beginning of you learning and growing into who you're meant to be. And so when you can also add that perspective of the fact that you don't know what's in store tomorrow or next year or 20 years from now and what it's preparing you for right now, I think that can help you to see the positive perspective and help you go through these hard moments and kind of see the opportunity in them. You know, I like to
Exactly.
say nobody gets bigger or stronger lifting 1 pound weights. So, you kind
Right.
of have to embrace it and see the positive perspective.
Exactly. Mean, I'm a Gen Zer. I was born in 2009 and I go to high
Okay.
school now. It's like a lot of kids, we don't have this like positive mindset all the time. Like we
Mm,
come to school with like, oh, I don't want to be here or this and that. And I'm like, there's so many kids around the world who don't. I'm from Nigeria, so like coming from a
mhm,
country that a lot of kids my age can't go to school because they have to take care of their families or they might not have a good educational opportunity. It's a blessing to even be here going to school in a good environment with good education and like you
mhm,
said gratitude, and also you can't judge the present and judge the future. You can't judge anything because who are you to judge anything at all? You don't know anything. And that's why you have to allow yourself to grow and learn to make mistakes, learn to grow into who you are because you don't know who you are yet. And I feel like a lot of kids, they kind of diminish their potential at a very young
mhm,
age, that by the time they get older they don't even know what they want or like what they desire because they killed that energy and those
mhm.
dreams long ago. But I do want to touch on the topic of bullying because I feel like that's what affecting a lot of kids, especially my age now. What are your advice to someone who is being bullied or discouraged right now in their time?
Yeah, I would tell, and this is from somebody that's been bullied myself. I would say just because your current surroundings aren't supportive, don't mean there aren't people that are meant for you. And so sometimes we can be in a place where we're faced with negativity or we're faced with people that don't accept us for who we truly are, and we can start to think there's something wrong with us.
Right.
When really the bully is usually the one dealing with problems and they're just going about it the wrong way. And so when you start to understand that, I need you to trust and still be you. The thing they pick on you for, the thing they maybe mean on you for, the thing you like that other people are like, why do you like that? That is your pathway to you being the best version of you. Okay? So like I always used to tell kids whenever I speak at schools when I'm talking about bullying, I'm like, you know what they teased me about? They teased me for speaking too much, for talking too much, for being annoying. But now I travel the country and live this amazing career, have a lot of fun doing the thing they picked on me for. And so I would tell them, you're not meant for everybody. Part of being you, or part of being a human being in general, is other people not liking you. Whether you stop being yourself, people won't like you. Whether you decide to be yourself, people won't like you. I'm sorry, no matter how cool you are, there will always be haters. And so kind of come
Exactly.
to, I'm not saying to accept the bullying, but I'm saying to accept you for who you are, regardless of what they do. And then I would say, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it. Don't be afraid to report. Like whatever they're doing that's negative is never cool. And you saying something isn't just helping yourself out; it's helping somebody else from being bullied as well.
Right. Bullies are also, well, insecure because if you're
Yeah.
making fun of someone who clearly doesn't like care and yet you're still making fun of this person, like you have some insecurity because if you think that it's good putting down someone to build yourself up, that's a toxic mindset. And I believe no one should ever think that's the best way of building self-confidence. And I do want to also talk about that as well. How can we start building self-confidence and being who we are really?
That's a good question. I think that's a good one. I think my confidence has always came from something I cared about. It's hard for me to be confident when I'm not being me. You know what I mean? If you tell me to go in science class and be enthusiastic, that's not me. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't click. And so finding where your confidence lies is just where is just you being you. So I think confidence is just an acceptance of who you are and not letting anybody tell you who you should and shouldn't be. And so I think finding that confidence comes from first learning who you are, which is a lifelong journey. You'll never be complete. Don't think you're supposed to know it at some time. But I think I found my confidence by tapping into the little things I did know I liked. So when my whole life was messed up, well, I know I like playing baseball, and I would have that sense of confidence there, and I would let that then flow into other places. Baseball is where I found my voice, which is not what I do, but it was the introductory. I had something to speak up about because I cared about winning the game. I cared about my teammates. I think there's little clues we all have. I think we all know little things we like. Through that is where we can develop skills that then transfer to other things we're supposed to do where we can gain confidence. And so I think it's about finding the little things we know about ourselves and investing in it. If it's a podcast, do it more. If it's a YouTube, do it more. Whatever that is, it'll flow into everything else in your life. Okay, so
Right.
me working on being a better speaker flows into being a better son for my mom, flows into being a better whatever. It's tapping into whatever you already have interest in, and it flows. And just knowing you in the mirror, that person you have a relation with, as long as you accept that person, you are enough. Your value has nothing to do with other people's opinions. And when you can value your opinion over everybody else, that's where the confidence comes because you're not relying on somebody saying good job for you to feel like you did a good job. You just being
Right.
you is enough. And that's the key.
I feel like what you said, like finding identity, like looking into your roots. It doesn't even have to be cultural roots. It can be cultural roots too. I find most of my like identity from my culture, from my background. But it can also just be what you love to do, what you like dream to be. Those things that make you you. Leading, but I do know bullying and other things as well. It's like social media does lead to self doubt, and so I want to understand what are some effective strategies you've used to overcome your own doubts and fears?
Well, a support system is one thing. I'm never one to say I did it all on my own. Um, I'd be lying if I didn't have big speeches where I had to call a big cousin like, "Hey, bro, just tell me what you already know about me." You know what I mean? And he'll just talk for 2 minutes, like, "Bro, you've done this, you did," and I'm just like, "All right, I'm tripping." Okay, so a support system is one, and I'm never afraid to say it. But it's also daily affirmations is something I do. Like me just going in the mirror and telling myself, I'm your best friend. I love you no matter what. Like little things like that is like my foundation. Little things like everything is a step forward. So even in my mess ups, it's a step forward. So affirmations, whatever that is for you, that tackles your own self doubt is big because it trains your mind to overcome. Because oftentimes that self doubt is just an anxiety from a reality that isn't even true.
Right.
So we're doubting. Oh, but that's not even the reality. That's just your own like hypothesis of the possible future, and it's causing you to miss out on the present that you could attack with such confidence, with such positivity. And so I just kind of try to clear out my mind, and release myself of whatever I'm afraid about because
Right.
honestly, those things are out of like a lot of the things we worry about is outside of our control. So why even worry about it? I can't control if somebody likes me. I can't control if whatever. You know what I mean? I could shoot the basketball and somehow the air in the gym pushes it to the right. You can't control everything, but as long as you place your value in what you can control and you just trying your best and you affirming that you are enough no matter the circumstances, I think those are some things. So that support system and them affirmations are really key for me. And I still deal with the self doubt. I get on stage right before
Hey,
stage I speak, and I'm nervous. So you're not
trust me.
alone. Nobody's alone.
Right. It's just human nature for us to just feel like we can be our own enemies sometimes. Just our minds can really just like manipulate us, telling us, well, you might not do well today, or just making like negative comments. And when we realize that, wait, I'm putting like myself like self-harm. I'm like telling myself I'm not good enough, then we need to stop and think, well, I am good enough. I am worthy enough. I can speak well, or I'm amazing person. And that's when we can start using those affirmations to up like lift our self-confidence as well. And also away from self-doubt because we can do it. We just need to start putting ourselves into that dream and making the dream happen and do it. Like I don't know, people I feel like they wait for something to happen. Like someone should just put something on their hands to say, okay, do it. But like no one's gonna give you permission to go chase your dream. You gotta do it, or you're gonna have to wait and maybe it will come back to you. But if you do it now, you're gonna have a better chance of being like getting it later in the future. But like you said, having a really great support system is really good too. Like also my family is an amazing support system when it comes to my podcast. But I wanted to understand like if someone or maybe someone you love has said something so impactful to you, what was that they said?
Oof. Well, let me sift through a bunch of things. My family has said a lot of good things. I think one thing that's always stuck with me is my late great grandfather. This is unrelated to the self doubt, but he was like, never be the smartest person in a group, like never. And it kind of caught me off guard because you want to be, you want to be the guy or whatever. But he was like,
Right.
if you're the smartest person in a group, there's nobody for you to learn from. And so if you can
Mm.
be the dumbest person in a group, if you can be the one person that doesn't know what's going on, you're in a group of people that allows you the most opportunity to learn and grow. And so I think what he's basically was telling me is just never, be trying to be the king instead of always be looking to soak in, because I think we're never at a point where we know everything. And so I think I've always benefited from constantly trying to learn and never trying to be so arrogant or so self righteous to think I know everything, I don't need you. Just, you know what I mean? And so I don't think my grandfather literally means not to be smarter than everybody, but I think he's just saying to always learn from other people and always be open to learning and never, just look at yourself as the best and not need it.
Right. I feel like you said, one of my interviews, we talked about being a lifelong learner. And
Hmm.
like in life, you never stop learning. You always, even when you're 60 years old, you still have
Never.
a lot to learn as being a human. So it's just great that we can just, as like you said, dumb ourselves down. Not dumb like
Yeah.
actually, like educationally, but just, humble ourselves and actually, be the student and not the leader, or not, I wouldn't say the leader, but be the one on top, instead be the student
Hmm.
and learn as you go. But I know that a lot of successful people, they do have like routines or like long-term like things that they do to become successful. And
Hmm.
so in your experience, what are key habits or routines that contribute to long-term success and fulfillment?
That's a good question, and it's also something I go back and forth on, depending on the chapter of my life. And so I'm a strong believer in consistency to produce long term results. Like long term consistency produces huge results. So a lot of my habits come and go at times because there's different chapters of my life where it takes different versions of me. Um, and so it depends on the type of person you are. Like for me, I have a routine on my phone when I'm writing down what I'm doing tomorrow. I do it every day. So that's one thing. Before every day, I'm writing down what I'm getting done. So I wake up in the morning not having to come out of this, we're almost like not fully alive when we're sleeping and then
Right.
saying, "Oh, what do I do next?" It's impossible to write your day down when you first wake up because you were just dreaming that you were on a dragon. You know what I mean? So I think that's one key habit, writing down the day before so you can just go about the day with such clarity. Now, I believe in writing it down, but what I don't believe in, and this is not me saying this is for everybody, this is just for me, for my life, is I'm going about that routine, being disciplined in it, but I'm fully willing to drift off of it through inspiration for a crazy idea. And
Right.
so if I have an idea throughout the day, whether that's a YouTube video I want to make, whether that's I want to start a new business, whatever it is, I'm going to dwell in it in the peak of my inspiration. Because I understand while consistency is important, a new idea could set me up 500 steps that way. And so I'm always trying to be disciplined and consistent, but I'm always available for something that could jump me over the next 500 days. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so it's a balance, and this is just me speaking as a creative. Not everybody's a creative in a sense of certain ways of living life. So I'm big on the thing the day before, but I'm also big on, you know, that inspiration. But I will say every single day I wake up, it's almost impossible for me to go to sleep without taking some sort of step forward. I believe if you have the mindset of every single day in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to take a step forward. If you could, like, just one step, if you could have that mindset, you'd be surprised where you will be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 20 years. And that simple thing. So if you have a dream, a goal, if you just say, I'm going to take a step forward in just one way, you'll be surprised how far you can get, because when you take that step forward every day, the step gets bigger because you learn how to take the step. And so it's
Exactly.
just it's not, it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. If you can get something 15 minutes a day, you're bidding most, because some people are gonna give it 12 hours a day, but they're only gonna last for 1 month. If you can have
Right.
the mindset, this is a lifetime journey. It's just a matter of when you reach the goal or the dream.
That's really important. I also like what you touched on. I do believe in discipline too,
Hmm.
consistency and discipline, and like making sure that you follow the steps and not just
Hmm.
like say, okay, I'm gonna just wait tomorrow, or okay, I don't
Yeah.
feel like it today. I'll just like, hold it back. Like, no, you gotta be disciplined and keep going, keep being
Hmm.
consistent, and don't allow like, what's the word? Like, when you hold, when you like lazy or like,
Oh,
uh
you're procrastinating.
procrastination. Yeah, don't let procrastination is really it's
Yeah.
something. It's something. But if we learn to control that, I feel like it can really help with also like the future ahead. But I do want to get the idea, because I know you are a motivational speaker, and your words, you make sure that your words do hit people into the heart, and
Hmm.
you want to help people. You want to show people what they can really do through your words. And so I want to know, why are words important, and what are the impact of them?
That's a good question. I think I boil everything down to understanding knowledge is one thing, cool. Um, but relatability is what strikes through individuals. So what makes me special, and this is the reason I get booked at a lot of schools and I do my thing or people watch my content, is because I'm talking in my lingo. I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna say yo in the middle of my speech. I'm gonna make a joke. I'm gonna say LOL. Like, I'm gonna talk the way I do, and I'm gonna bring my stories the way I do. And so words are powerful because it allows people to relate. If I talked as this 1920 philosopher, you know, would kids listen to me? No, because it's just like, this dude doesn't get me. And so words are powerful because they reach somebody and brings them in, and then allows them to listen. Like, I bet there's probably some awesome things I could have learned in school, but the teacher had a horrible voice that I just didn't like. It was super boring. It just is what it is. And so I think words and the way you articulate them, whether that's with writing or whether that's with your words on a speech or on a podcast, are valuable. But I don't think it's something you have to almost too much worry about, because it's within your authentic words that authentically strike other people. We can feel when you're trying to say words to get us, but you're not really. So I think words are powerful because it allows somebody to know, oh, this is something that I relate to and I can listen to. Now this has my intention. People listen to me because of my words and the way I'm willing to articulate them.
Right. I sing a lot, so whenever I
Okay.
sing, I try to make sure that what I say really does touches the hearts of people, and that I'm actually trying to like form a conversation with the person that I'm singing to, or the crowd that I'm trying to sing to. And also with my podcasting, like trying to build some form of like conversation and like relatability. So when people hear it, it's like, oh, I understand what she means, or like I understand what he's talking about. And so I feel like what you said, words are very important, because they can really get to people if you say the right way. Like your authentic words are your authentic self, and that's really true. But on the topic of goal setting, because I know when we want to be successful, we have to plan ahead and have certain types of goals to get to our big dream. But I want to know, how do you approach goal setting, and what's one piece of advice you have for people who want to set and achieve meaningful goals?
First, ask why you want the goal. I think a lot of times we place goals in our life that we don't even actually want, or we want for the wrong reasons. And then we ask why we never get the goal. It's because you didn't have the passion to actually go about getting it. And so, first, really sit there, put the goal down, and ask yourself why continuously. So if it's I want this, why? And then you answer it, ask why again continuously, and figure out once you finish doing that process if that's really something worth going after. Not just something that seems cool, not just something that somebody else has that you're jealous of. Figure out why you want it first. And when you can have a concrete reason why, that's where your motivation is. I want it because of this, that reminder. If you don't have a why you want the goal, then that day when the procrastination hits, why would you still do it? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because people love to chase a goal in the first week, the first month, the first year. But who's chasing the goal in 20 years? You know what I mean? And so if the goal isn't something you really have a strong why about, then it's probably not worth going for. And that's okay. Just find a new goal. So first, really know why you want it and make sure you want it for the right reasons. Two, set out a plan. But a plan with pace. A lot of people set out plans with speed and they fail. Most people set out goals and they're looking to obtain it in a month, in 6 months, in a year. And it shows, again, they started the goal for the wrong reasons. They wanted it
Right.
because they really want, you know what I mean? Something that's not really pure. When you truly want it, when this is like who you are, then it's like, okay, I'm cool for the next 50 years going after this thing. Now, different types of goals, you may want them in a shorter period of time for certain reasons. I get it. This is me talking about the biggest dream. But if you can't, set out a paceful plan, then you're not purely going about it. You're not purely having that authentic voice. And so you have to be able to set out a plan that's going to allow you to continue going for a long period. Different goals, long period is different, but it's all about getting on a marathon and getting your pace together so you can keep up the pace. A lot of
Right.
people are setting goals and setting a plan and they're sprinting out the blocks and you're comparing yourself to them. You're like, Jamar, what about them? They're ahead of me. I'm in the jog you told me about. But they're sprinting, but on lap two, they're going to be out of gas. They're not even going to be able to continue. They're going to quit. Your job in these goals is to enjoy the run, the jog, but have a pace that allow you to last. And when you do that, what you'll realize is as you're running this race with a pace and you're not sprinting, you can look around and see, oh, there's a better way to do this. Oh, there's a better way to do that. Oh, this person has advice. Let me stop real quick and listen. You have to be aware as you're going on the race. And then you'll end up running faster because you've learned so much on the process. So setting
Mm.
a paceful plan and learning throughout it is key.
Taking time too, like the tortoise and the
Yes.
rabbit. That's what that's how I relate to that
Hmm.
too. Once you take time, you get to find like good advice and also like how to perfect the plan, how to make this good decisions too. I feel like when we rush things, we don't always make the greatest decisions, and that will really hinder that like goal. But I want to do touch on failure because I feel like that is a part of this walk in life. We all will have our ups and downs. But what role do you believe failure plays in success? And how can someone learn from their setbacks rather than be discouraged by them?
Well, nobody's perfect. Literally nobody. The only way somebody's perfect is in your own mind, is in what you don't know. So every person you look at has failed in some way. But in the big dream, you're never a failure until you quit. And so I don't even really look at these mishaps or these things I messed up on as failures. They're just little quizzes I didn't get a good grade on, but the overall grade hasn't come out yet. So
Right.
there's these little bitty failures, but the big failure is never ever actually a thing until you decide to quit and say, I'm never gonna get it. So in these little bitty things that you're gonna fail at, you have a decision. Do you want to accept them as failure or do you want to learn from them? It's all a
Right.
decision. And so as you go about them, you realize it was never a failure. It was just an opportunity for you to learn and grow. So when I had my first time making my podcast, was I fluently speaking with ease? No, I was horrible. But the person I am today, if I look back on that, I wouldn't be here without that. So therefore, that failure wasn't a failure. It was just a stepping stone to where I am right now, speaking on this podcast. So again, it's all about the perspective. It's all about understanding there's a bigger dream. But again, if you have the wrong goal, you're not able to do that because you need the results now. You need to
Right.
be the biggest podcaster tomorrow. But if you can say, okay, everything I'm going through, it's just part of the journey. It's just life saying, oh, we got more to. Because what you'll realize is when you do reach whatever you want, it's cool to get there, but can you stay there? And the person that stays there is the person that's prepared. And the person that's prepared has been challenged. They have quote unquote failed, and they have saw the opportunity in the failure. And so you just got to understand, you just getting your armor together. You're just getting more and more armor. And there's somebody that needs your story. Again, we talked about words. There's somebody that needs your story, with your authentic story that you actually live for, that they can feel in the future to be able to know they can push through too. So, what if when you're going through something, you have an understanding, man, 30 years, somebody's going to need to hear about how I kept pushing?
Right.
That perspective is what's going to push you. You understanding there's dreams that you haven't dreamed of yet that you're being prepared for. And so
Exactly.
I'm somebody that's living dreams 5 years ago I didn't even know was possible, and I'm living it now. So I need you to know, as big of a dreamer you are today, there's dreams even better than you can imagine right now that you will live if you keep going. So I think that's the perspective with those failures. They're all just stepping stones.
Yeah. Failure is like what you call failure. It builds skin. It can
Yes.
really it can build you some skin because life is hard. No one, I've never heard anyone say life is easy. If life is easy, then you must have had a smooth
Insanely easy.
trail. But for a lot of people, it's not, and that's when failure, it teaches you how to toughen up and fight through those moments. And when you are actually met with a situation that might seem harder, you've learned from your past like setbacks that okay, this is just another challenge that I need to overcome and keep going. But I do want to continue this onto moving, like being you are a motivational speaker, you constantly encourage others. And so I want to know, how do you ensure you stay motivated and continue to grow personally?
Yeah, it's a good one. By dreaming. I'm constantly dreaming. I like to say, once you've achieved a dream, you better find a new one. Life is about dreaming. Like life is about the pursuit. It's never the destination. It's
Right.
about the pursuit. And so for me, it's funny, whenever I get a new dream and I obtain it, usually I am present, but I'm always thinking about the next one. And so people are always laughing at me, Jamar, why you do? I'm like, dude, I gotta do something, you know? And so for me, as I'm speaking all across the country, I when I'm back home, I'm delving into the next passion project, into the next dream. And so like right now, I'm working on the biggest project of my life. It'll be out soon. It'll be out like by August. But like I'm working on that all the time. I'm working on my own podcast. I'm working on, oh, I want to do this with my YouTube channel. I'm just constantly delving into new ideas. I'm never just saying, oh, I made it. Let's chill out. Like like if you really start talking to some of these people that have achieved dreams, or you listen to these very accomplished people after they quote unquote retire, they've never really retired. Like I'm cool, like some people retire, but like I don't think I could ever retire in terms of just everything. Like I'm gonna have to do something else, you know? And so I stay sane by one, delving into my other passions and actually resting. I think that's not talked about. I think hustle culture tells us we should be working all the time. I will gladly binge Game of Thrones. I will gladly, yeah, really taking time to just do stuff I
Right.
enjoy doing that aren't even attached to quote unquote my pursuits, just the things that I enjoy doing. I take vacations, I hang out with my friends on a random weekend. So it's a mix of like always following my heart and just resting.
Exactly. That's like, I feel like that's one thing we do want to touch on. Being, you have so many dreams. You have to
Yeah.
squeeze some time for yourself. That's a lot. Every single time someone comes on this podcast, I always ask, do you always have time for yourself? And they say yes, because it's always important to save time for yourself because that's, you also matter. Like
Yeah.
mental health is very important. I address this in my like podcast a lot. I want to make sure address mental health because it's something that we need to take care of. If your mind ain't right, then how can you be right to help other people? So
Exactly.
it always starts from here and that you have to take care of yourself first. But in wrapping up this interview, I do always ask my guests a little funny question at the end of the episode. And I wanted to know, what is your favorite bowl of noodles?
My favorite. I love and we're talking in a literal sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love okay, why is it where does it go? You have the is it no. Is it no. I think it's when I go get ramen and it'll be like the pork belly and all that stuff. I think that's what
Yeah.
I've gotten that a couple times. I'm just like, my goodness, this is so good. So I like going to the ramen places and getting like the pork belly with the noodles and all the, this, it just be too much to even eat. Like I'd never eat all of it. So I
Is
guess
it
that'd be my,
is it like Sabo? I don't know if I'm
what's,
saying it right.
what's Sabo?
Sabo. It. It started with us like sabo. I know what you mean though. It got like pork. It got veggies on it.
Yeah.
It's a type of name that I don't really know, but it looked good when I see it
Are you
on
talking about?
TikTok.
Are you talking about pho?
Not pho, but it's like sabo. Like I don't. It's really. I'm saying it really bad. That's it. That's not how it sounds.
Yeah.
But it's a really good
But I
pasta. Of course.
know ramen. I go to ramen places, so that's all.
Hey, yeah,
Or
my
oh
favorite
no,
one.
no, I'm sorry. I have to replace it. I know it's my favorite cup of noodles. What does that count? I don't know, but I like gumbo too. So
Gumbo. Yeah,
yeah, so I love gumbo.
yeah.
I'll go
Don't
there too
forget the mac and cheese.
for
Mac and
sure.
cheese. So it's going to be on my like top. Like favorite one has to be like spaghetti.
Classic,
I grew up living to that.
classic.
That's my favorite one. But thank you so much, Jamar, for being on the Noodle Pod. Your words are wise. Please continue to be a dreamer and just to motivate the next generation of amazing people like you. And just continue to do what you do. And just thank you for being here. It's an honor to talk to you. And just thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jordan, for having me, and I've been very impressed by your podcasting skills at your young age. So I'm happy we had this discussion.